You're doing it so fast that it feels out of control, but it's a good thing. There's just a multiple facets that make me who I am today.
I first saw the news that Ken Block, co-founder of DC Shoes and Hoonigan Racing, had died in a tragic snowmobile accident. I, like many other fans, was shocked. I had just recently did a video on Ken and the history of DC about 3 weeks or so before it happened, and I discussed the rise of DC and Ken Block himself. I talked a bit about Hoonigan, and in the video I asked if I should do a more in-depth video on that brand. But after hearing the sad news, I felt that I had to do a Hoonigan video as a tribute to the complete legacy of a man who touched the lives of so many. I'm Nate the Great from TakeFlight214.com, and this is the history of Ken Block and Hoonigan Racing. But before we get started, please stop for a second and hit the like button for me. We're a small channel, and liking and sharing the video is the best way to help us to continue to grow. But with that being said, let's jump in. The origin story of Ken Block is one that many of us can both relate to and take inspiration from. One of a guy who followed his passions and accepted nothing less. As I covered in the DC video, Ken Block originally thought that he wanted to be an architect, but his passion was elsewhere. So Ken decided to quit his job and move to Colorado to become a self-proclaimed snowboard bum. But a few years in, he had the self-awareness enough to recognize that his personal ability was limited and that he could never really make his love of snowboarding into a professional venture. But Ken didn't let this stop him from making it big in another field. I won't really go into the DC side of things here so much, but if you would like to see that video too, then the link's up top. Ken's entry into motorsports came in 2004 when he was the chief brand officer of DC Shoes. When Travis Pastrana, a friend and DC Motorsports athlete, entered rally racing, Ken, being an avid adventure junkie, wanted to try his hand at it too. So at the age of 37, Ken Block took his first rally lesson, training at Team O'Neill's rally school. He fell in love with the sport pretty quick and seemed like a natural. And in 2005, after completing his training in New Hampshire, Ken Block entered his first rally race season. He competed in the snowdrift event and ended up finishing in a respectable 7th place overall and 5th in the Group N class. Later, Ken placed 4th overall in the Rally America National Championship, beating his good friend and mentor Travis Pastrana. Ken also was awarded Rookie of the Year. The next year, Ken and Travis scored a sponsorship with Subaru, and his team was now known as the Subaru Rally Team. He competed in his first X Games rally event in a new 2006 Subaru WRX and took home the bronze medal. The following year, he managed to win silver. In 2010, Ken Block switched from Team Subaru to Team Ford. His success continued in the open class Ford Fiesta, and Ken Block saw his 5th win in rally in the 100-acre wood. However, the next 5 years would see him in the winner's circle less than before, and in 2015, he announced he was switching most of his focus to his new company, Hoonigan Racing. So, ever wonder how they came up with the name Hoonigan? Well, it turns out a hoon is an Australian term describing a person who deliberately drives a vehicle in a reckless or dangerous manner, generally for the sake of showing off. So when brainstorming, they mixed the word hoon and hooligan, and voila, you have a new term introduced into the lexicon of car guys the world over. Another culture-shaping addition for Ken came in the form of his Gymkhana video series. The Gymkhana series began with Subaru, which Block drove in the early part of his racing career. The first car wasn't even a purpose-built Gymkhana vehicle. It was a modified Subaru Impreza WRX. The car didn't even have a roll cage inside, and the stunts performed by Ken were nowhere near as wild as we've come to expect today. But it was the start of something special. The second car was also a Subaru and was closer to what we know as the modern day Gymkhana car. It was another WRX, but it was way more heavily modified. The third car, however, was the first purpose-built Gymkhana car and marked the series' official shift over to Ford. The 2011 Ford Fiesta became the face of the Gymkhana series as it exploded in popularity in the third installment. The series moved on to a 2012 Fiesta and a fourth installment, which Block commented was a very different beast. 400 plus horsepower from a souped up turbocharged four-banger. And in 2014, the guys took the year off from producing videos. But little did we know, they had something insanely awesome up their sleeves. What resulted was perhaps one of the best looking resto mods that I personally have ever seen. Gymkhana 7, Wild in the Streets of LA, marked the introduction of the famed Hoonicorn. A 1965 Ford Mustang with all-wheel drive setup, making 845 horsepower to the wheels via a NASCAR V8 engine that sounded like what I could only imagine you would have heard upon the awakening of the Kraken in ancient Greek mythology. The Hoonicorn is itself a celebrity. It's been in magazines, video games, and starred in tons of video series. Ken later built the Hoona truck, which was a modded F-150 tuned to 800 plus horsepower as well. And as if the Hoonicorn was not insane enough, Ken would eventually rework it and launch the V2 version, which made an ungodly 1400 horsepower and all-wheel drive setup. And for any of my viewers who are not car guys and don't really get what that means, let's just say that's insanely fast, lightning fast. They started a whole new video series titled Hoonicorn vs. the World, where Ken Block would take on all comers in drag races. And although the Hoonicorn was originally built for drifting and not dragging, 1400 horsepower and an all-wheel drive setup is still 1400 horsepower and an all-wheel drive setup. And as a result, the vast majority of the time, the Hoonicorn blew away the competition. Getting a bit older and wanting to let his daughter have some fun too, Ken would eventually turn over the keys to her when she was only 15 and allowed her to beat the pants off of grown men in drag races. Sadly though, in 2021, Ken's time with Ford came to an end, and they had to retire the Hoonicorn. A video was done of Ken Block launching the world famous car one last time.
I think we should hoon it one last time.
Ken just wants to blow that thing up.
Ken would move on to join Team Audi, and car fans around the world looked forward to many more years of hooning now that another generation of Blocks had entered the game as well. But tragically, on January 2nd of 2023, reports surfaced that Ken Block was involved in a snowmobile accident in Utah that sadly had taken his life. The sheriff's office stated that Block was riding his snowmobile with the group, but was alone when his machine flipped over while traversing a steep hill, landing on top of him. The life and legacy of Ken Block serves as inspiration for us all. Years ago, he left a promising career in architecture to pursue his dreams, and once he realized his limitations in one area, he switched gears and became an icon in another, skateboarding apparel. After he made that venture successful, he still had a need for speed, so he started over in rally and was successful there too, parlaying it into a business that would shape racing culture. Of all the people that we've covered, Ken is one of the only ones who built one brand that shaped one culture, sold it, and then started a different brand that helped mold a completely different culture. Being a fan of fashion and a fan of cars, I've always had a special affinity for Ken's work. It almost feels surreal that we'll no longer be seeing crazy car builds drifting around the world, all while sporting the iconic number 43. But at the end of the day, Ken lived his life to the fullest. He had fun, he made money, and he touched the lives of millions. Ken Block will be greatly missed. Hoon in peace, Ken. Hoon in peace. But what do you think? What were some of your fondest memories of Ken Block? Hit us up in the comment section and let us know. Also, if you made it this far through the video, then we hope you like what you saw. And if so, then please smash that like button for us. Liking and sharing the video is the best way to get the YouTube algorithms to notice us and to help our channel to continue to grow. Also, if you want to be updated whenever we drop new videos, then hit the subscribe button and then the notification bell. This way you'll be dinged whenever a new episode drops. But with that being said, I'm Nate the Great from TakeFlight214.com signing out. Until next time, peace.